I've always been a curious person, especially when it comes to the internet. My fascination with the deep web started in college, driven by stories of its hidden mysteries and dangers. I knew it was risky, but my curiosity was too strong to ignore. This is the story of the time I delved too deep and encountered something truly horrifying. I remember it was a chilly night in October. I was alone in my dorm room, the only light coming from my laptop screen. After some research, I had managed to access the deep web. Initially, it was underwhelming, just a bunch of poorly designed websites and forums. But as I delved deeper, things started to get unsettling. I stumbled upon a site that claimed to offer the ultimate truth about the world. Intrigued, I clicked through. The site was a maze of cryptic messages and bizarre images. Each click seemed to take me deeper into a rabbit hole of paranoia and conspiracy theories. Then, I found a link labeled "The Real Horror." My heart raced with a mix of fear and excitement as I clicked it. The screen went black for a moment before a chat window popped up. A user named Truth Seeker started typing. "You found the truth. Are you ready to see it?" The message read. I hesitated, but my curiosity won. I typed back, "Yes." What followed was a series of images and videos that were deeply disturbing. They showed unexplainable, terrifying scenes that seemed too real to be fake. Each image was more gruesome than the last. I felt sick to my stomach but couldn't look away. Then, the chat window pinged again. "Scared yet?" Truth Seeker asked. Before I could respond, another message popped up. "You should be. You're part of it now." I froze. "What do you mean?" I typed shakily. "You'll see. Watch your back," the reply came. The chat window closed, and the website went down. I tried to access it again, but it was as if it never existed. I tried to shrug it off as a sick jokey, but I couldn't shake off the feeling of dread. The next day, things started to get weirder. I found a note under my door with a cryptic message that mirrored the ones from the website. I started seeing shadows and hearing whispers. I told myself it was just my mind playing tricks, but deep down, I feared it was something more. I became paranoid, always looking over my shoulder, jumping at every sound. My friends noticed my strange behavior and asked if I was okay. I couldn't tell them the truth. They would never believe me. One evening, as I was walking back to my dorm, I felt like someone was following me. I quickened my pace, but the footsteps behind me did the same. When I turned around, no one was there. I ran back to my room, locked the door, and pushed a chair against it. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every little noise made my heart race. Then, in the early hours of the morning, my computer turned on by itself. The screen was filled with the same cryptic messages from the deep website. I tried to turn it off, but it wouldn't respond. Suddenly, my room went cold, and I saw a shadow move across the wall. I was frozen in fear, unable to scream or move. Then, just as suddenly as it started, it stopped. The computer turned off, and the room returned to normal. I don't know if what I experienced was real or just a product of my fear and paranoia. But I learned my lesson. I never went back to the deep web. Sometimes the truth is better left hidden, and some mysteries are too dangerous to explore. I always thought the deep web was a myth, a digital boogeyman, until the night I stumbled upon its darkest corner. It started as a dare. My friends and I were tech-savvy, always pushing the limits of what we could do online. The deep web was our final frontier. We used a series of proxies and a secure browser, diving deeper into a world we barely understood. The initial sites were mundane, hidden forums, black markets, nothing we hadn't expected. But then, we found it. A link simply titled "The Shadows Game." Curiosity overcame caution. I clicked. The page was black, with text appearing slowly, as if someone was typing in real time. "Welcome to the Shadows Game. Do you wish to play?" I should have stopped there, but the adrenaline rush was intoxicating. I typed, "Yes." The game seemed simple. I was to complete tasks, each more challenging than the last. The first few were innocent enough: find specific information online, solve complex riddles. But then, the tasks started getting personal. One asked for details about my family. Another wanted photos from my childhood. I became uneasy, but pressed on. After completing several tasks, the tone shifted. "Leave your house now. Go to the address sent to your phone." A message pinged, displaying an address 15 minutes away. This was too far. I tried to close the browser, but it wouldn't shut down. My computer seemed to have a life of its own. I felt trapped. Leaving my room, I grabbed my jacket and headed out. The address led to an abandoned warehousey. It was pitch black inside. My phone's flashlight barely pierced the darkness. "Go to the center of the building," the next message read. I followed, heart pounding. In the middle of the room, a laptop sat on a dusty table, its screen glowing eerily. On it was a live feed of my room. I saw my computer, still on, displaying the same black page. A new message appeared. "See how easily you are manipulated? You're part of the game now. The shadow watches." I felt a chill down my spine. Someone was watching me, playing with me like a puppet. Rushing home, I found my room exactly as I left it. But the deep web page was gone, replaced with a normal desktop. I tried to tell my friends, but they laughed it off, thinking I was making it up for attention. But things started happening. I'd find items in my house moved, or hear strange noises at night. I became paranoid, unable to distinguish reality from my fear. One night, I awoke to a message on my phone. "Look outside." There, in the street, stood a figure, shrouded in darkness, just watching my house. I blinked, and it was gone. The messages continued, each more threatening than the last. "We're always watching," one read. Another, "You can never leave the game." I went to the police, but they found nothing. No evidence of hacking, no strange figures on security footage. I was alone in my terror. The climax came one evening when I found a note in my room, in handwriting I didn't recognize. The final task: survive tonight. I didn't sleep. Every crack and whisper of the wind sounded like a harbinger of doom. Morning came, and I was still alive, but something had changed. I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched, of being part of some sick game. It's been months since that night. I've moved houses, changed my online presence, but the fear remains. The deep web exposed me to a world where boundaries don't exist, and shadows play games with human lives. I share this story as a warning. There are things in the digital world that are better left unexplored. The deep web is not a playground, it's a hunting ground. And sometimes the prey doesn't escape. It all started as a dare. My friends and I were fascinated by the tales of the deep web, a place where the darkest corners of human nature supposedly thrived. They dared me to dive into this abyss, just to see if these stories were real. As a 20-year-old college student with a love for thrills, I couldn't resist. I remember setting up my laptop with all necessary precautions. I installed various VPNs and Tor, ensuring my digital footprint was as invisible as possible. The curiosity was overwhelming, but so was a sense of foreboding. The first few sites were mundane, but as I ventured deeper, the reality of this hidden world became apparent. I stumbled upon a site that seemed like an endless catalog of the forbidden and the bizarre. But one link caught my eye. It promised a journey into the real deep web. Driven by an adrenaline-fueled curiosity, I clicked. What I saw next was a live chat room shrouded in darkness with a single message: "Welcome to the game. You are now part of it." Confused, I typed back, asking what this meant. The response was chilling. "You'll see. Keep watching." The screen split into multiple live feeds, each showing different locations, all empty and eerily quiet. Then, texts started popping up on the screen, goading me to choose a feed. I hesitated, but the curiosity had turned into a compulsion. I chose one at random. As soon as I clicked, the feed came alive. A light turned on, revealing a dingy room. In the corner was a figure, tied up and blindfolded. My heart raced. This couldn't be real. It had to be a sick joke. But before I could process it further, a masked figure entered the frame. The figure approached the camera, whispered, "Your choice?" and then turned to the captive. I panicked. This was beyond anything I had imagined. I tried to close the browser, but it was frozen. Helpless, I watched as the masked figure taunted the captive, whose muffled cries sent chills down my spine. Then, something even more horrifying happened. My own webcam light flickered on. A message appeared. "We see you. Enjoy the show." I was being watched. My room, my face, my fear, all on display for these unseen spectators. The realization hit me like a ton of bricks. I wasn't just a spectator. I was part of their twisted game. I desperately tried to shut down my laptop, but it was unresponsive. My only choice was to pull the power cord. The screen went black, and the room plunged into silence. I sat there, shivering, trying to convince myself it was just a hoax. But deep down, I knew it was real. I had witnessed something horrifying, and now they knew who I was. The fear of being watched, of being a part of this game, lingered. Days turned into weeks, and the incident haunted me. I kept my digital presence minimal, always wary of any unusual activity. But nothing happened. No strange messages, no unknown visitors, no signs of the deep web creeping into my life. It felt like I had escaped unscathed, but the psychological scars remained. I learned my lesson about the dangers lurking in the uncharted territories of the internet. The deep web is not just a place of anonymity and freedom. It's a breeding ground for the darkest aspects of humanity. I was lucky to escape, but I often wonder about the fate of the person in that feed. The deep web horror story taught me that some doors are best left unopened. The unseen shadows of the digital world hold terrors that are all too real, and curiosity can sometimes lead you into an abyss from which there's no return.